Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town's brand new post-match show. I'm delighted to be joined by our loan manager for the academy, David Fox, who obviously played for 3.5 years at Norwich City. Foxy?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and Tommy Elphick as well. Tommy, I'll start with you. It's really disappointing, isn't it, from a player's perspective to get that result after what is such a good performance, going toe-to-toe with a side that's just been relegated from the Premier League?
Yeah, it is disappointing because at the end of the day, we're all winners, and that's why we play football and we go out there to win every game. But I just think there can be so much heart taken from the performance. We can see that the work on the training pitch is certainly paying off. There was a big call in the summer to bring a brand of football to Huddersfield. And I think today we sort of started that. If nothing, it's definitely something to build on, something to take inspiration from, something to learn from, and something to improve on as well. So lots and lots of positives. So I think the important message is it's so early in the season, ridiculously early to be getting downhearted. But as I say, the overriding feeling should be one of positivity tonight.
What did you make of the game, Foxy?
Yeah, similar to what Tommy said, really. I think there's lots of things to take out of it. I'm sure the manager will look back at it and he'll see some of the things he's been trying to do in training sort of come out. And I thought the way he sort of tried to build out from the back, and I thought Ben Hamer's distribution was really good, really brave. So there's plenty of positives that I'm sure they've been trying to put in over the pre-season. And then it's just taking it into that final third and to try and create chances and score goals, which obviously is the most difficult thing to do in football. And yeah, it was difficult to get nothing out of the game today. I thought 0-0 was probably a fair reflection of the game, and I think without the mistake costing us at the end, I think, a 0-0 everyone would have been a lot more upbeat than after a defeat.
Yeah, we have to talk obviously about the error that led to the goal. Tommy, you obviously know Steers very well. You'll have watched him and been with him in the dressing room. For him to perform as well as he did in that game, and then that error to be so costly, I can imagine it can hit him quite hard. Yeah,
but at the end of the day, you don't get to the ages of sort of me and Steers and get to this stage in your career without having these little setbacks and these disappointments. And what he's done in his career, it speaks for itself. And I actually thought, coming into the game, again, he's had a tough sort of 24 hours. He didn't play last week. He's come back into the side today. I've been there as a centre half. The club announced that they're signing a left-sided centre half. You're asked to go in and do that job on the Saturday. There's an understanding that your position, the pressure's on for you to perform. And for 80 minutes, he was impeccable. Gone and played in a very tough style for a centre half. What is being asked of him and Shindy, it's very, very tough. And he was literally the standout performer for me for 79 minutes. And part and parcel of being a centre half, I know more as much as anyone. One mistake can be so costly. And I've just sent him a text there to say just to keep his chin up, because he was superb, and he'll get the chance to play next week, hopefully, and put that right.
Is it almost part and parcel of the system that these kind of errors are going to happen? We've seen it in pre-season friendly when Ben Hamer was trying to play out the back and got caught against Man United. Obviously, Steers is trying to shift the ball. He's under pressure, but he's trying to play that style of football. Is it just a case of learning more about that style?
Definitely, and I think it highlights why the manager was so keen and why the club was so keen to get a left-footed centre-half in, because I think if you watch the clip back, he has to move around the ball to get it back onto his right foot, and the style that we're playing in, it takes a lot of energy, and it was probably a little bit of a tired mistake at that stage in the game. And as well, we have to look elsewhere as well. What could the team have done better to help Steers on his wrong side to help him find the pass a little bit quicker? And And as you said, you bang on. It's part and parcel of the style that we're going to see. We are going to see mistakes, and that's where I think for the fans, they've got to be patient with it a little bit. They've got to trust the process. This is a process that is going to take a little bit of time. But for me, the overriding factor, even in Richard Stearman's performance today, was one of positivity that shouldn't be marred by that mistake.
And in terms of the intensity, Foxy, like Tommy alluded to there, tired legs can play a part. We've had a really short pre-season, not as many pre-season games as we planned because of the positive COVID tests that we had at the club. How much can that play an impact on someone like Richard Stearman and Christopher Schindler and Jonathan Hogg as well, who haven't had loads of minutes under their belts?
Yeah, you'd like a full pre-season. I think any player would say that. You're sort of used to the sort of 5-6 weeks that you normally get. You build yourself up. You get plenty of games. You get 45 minutes, and then build your way up. And I think everyone's pretty much set in stone, and that's how your pre-season is, and that's what your body's used to. And to have such a short period of time to come off, the end of the season seems like yesterday, really, and then to go again, it is difficult. But that's what everyone's getting used to. All the teams are the same. And what I would say is, like Tommy said, that the style of play is very demanding on everyone. And you're seeing, Steers was stepping out with the ball. He was winning the ball off strikers' feet, in the opposition's half. So it's very demanding. And yeah, I think, as the game goes on, that's where I think, like Tommy mentioned, could other people have helped him out? I don't want it to turn into a just sort of that one mistake was the whole reason we got beat. There's lots and lots of factors. It's just that was just an unfortunate moment. But I'm sure once the dust settles and in a couple of days' time, he'll look back and think, I played well for 80 minutes, and like a lot of the lads will do, they'll see real signs of encouragement to how they want to play and how the manager what his demands are.
Being a former midfielder yourself, you said that people look around Steers and think, what could they have done? Is that something that you were analysing during the game of what Baka could have done, passing the ball, the other players around him to make that easier?
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, and I think the way the club are looking to play, it puts a lot of emphasis on those sort of two centre halves and the number 6 Hoggy today. Getting on that ball and getting turn and linking play and stepping forward. And there's lots of demands. Well, I guess that's modern football now, really. You've got to be able to play. And I'm sure, they'll go over the game with a fine tooth comb, and really analyse it all like they do everything. And they'll look at ways to improve and can we move the ball better? Can we get the ball forward with better quality at times? Can we create more? There'll be lots of things they'll take from the game, but I think there's a lot more positives to be taken than negatives. And certainly, going forward, I think certainly off the ball, the way they pressed Norwich, the way they made it uncomfortable for their good players, I think they've set a benchmark for off the ball in terms of how they want to play.
And Tommy, it was the off the ball stuff that when Carlos first came in, that's what the team started working on first, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Like it's tough for me to have to give you a real insight because I've still been mostly with the physio. So, but I believe like a lot of emphasis on the intensities and high speed running. There's all thought behind it, and it's something that it takes 11 to buy into, because if one in the chain misses the moment that they're meant to press, then it has a knock-on effect and kills the ones behind. So, I think you could see that in the last 10 minutes. I think there was a huge disappointment once we conceded. And then you could see stuff just got a little bit fragmented almost, and people were going on their own. So again, there's still lessons to be learnt beyond the mistake that led to the goal. The improvement obviously is in possession what we need to find now, because I think once you keep the ball for longer periods, then the onus becomes less on the high intense pressing. So the more energy that you have when you need to win the ball back if you keep it for longer periods. So I just thought first half especially, we was just flicking at things a little bit too much. the strength for us this season is going to be in the system and the style, and that's going to bring the X factor. So when that brings the X factor, you almost have to do the basics really, really well. And I thought we built up, as Foxy said, through Ben's kicking and distribution really well. We got up to a certain point, but then when it really mattered and the onus become on hurting Norwich and sustaining pressure, for me, sometimes we were a little bit too quick to turn the ball over. And again, it has a knock-on effect. It's the defenders that are having to recover the ball, and that's where the energy can exert too much a little bit.
After the game, that's pretty much what Christopher Schindler said as well. He was speaking a lot about that they put so much energy into the intensity to get the ball back. And then when we got it back, we almost lost it quite quickly. And then you had to regain yourself. And the 1v1 system particularly interested me. Obviously 1v1 all over the pitch. Toffs, I think at one point, was marking Cantwell. Cantwell went over to the opposite flank and Toffs tracked him out there.
Yeah.
The system itself, like you said, is the X factor, but it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an amazing concept, and one, if you can grasp, can be so powerful. And it's something, as I said, it's all about the chain. You know, if Toffs does that, then it's really important that Dia follows the fullback into the spaces. It's really important. The left side centre half comes around and covers, you know, wherever Toffs has gone. And I've had success playing this way, and the quickest thing you have to establish is trust. And once a manager can trust the player and the players can trust their teammates, it can be really effective.
You could see, Foxy, the fluidity in the team, bearing in mind that they haven't had a long period of time to learn this style. And a lot of them haven't played in this particular role that they're being asked to play in. No,
and that's what we're saying. It will take time. Lots of things to take on board. I'm sure, you know, throughout the game, there's, you know, transitions and with the ball, there's so many things that happen in a game, and you've got this split second to make decisions. And like Tommy says, you know, I suppose you're only good as your weakest link. And if someone does switch off, then it can cause trouble. So that's why you've got to be on it. You've got to be well coached. You've got to be well prepared. You've got to know what your teammates doing. You've got to know that Toffs is going to track Cantwell all the way to right wing if that's what he's going to do, and you build your game off the back of that. But I think hopefully, you know, with time and with more games and with more training, and hopefully, like Tommy says, there's a couple more additions to help out the lads that are there. There's certainly a base to work from, and there's certainly something that with the buy-in from the lads is something that can be powerful, can be successful, and can, you know, be something that the fans can look at and think, you know, at least we've got, you know, the lads. I know that I'm going to turn up on a Saturday and see a way of football that's going to excite me, that's going to make me proud to be a Huddersfield fan, because, you know, I'm certainly today, you know, you saw that all the lads, you know, we're working for each other, we're working for the team, working for the manager to try and get the result today.
And we've mentioned the attacking style that we are trying to introduce. One player that really stood out for me was Josh Karoma. He hasn't played as a striker for us since last pre-season. He's been playing out wide predominantly and during our pre-season games this year. Just how impressed were you with him, Foxy? Yeah,
like you said, it was a different role for him. And obviously it's difficult playing up front on your own if you're not, you know, that sort of player. And I thought he'd done really well. You know, he works hard. He works the channels. He's got that bit of pace. You know, he looked probably the one threat going forward that we had in terms of strikes on goal and being a threat. Obviously, it's at times he was isolated. I'm sure he'd like to have had a little bit more to work off, because I think that a lot of it was he was working off scraps a lot of the time. But no, look, I obviously doing what I do. I had a bit of time with Josh last season with his loan at Rotherham, and you know, it was difficult for him there. He joined a team that was settled, that was winning, so it was hard for him to break in. So there's times he wasn't playing in League One last year. So for him to start in the Championship up front, you know, number 9, it's great for him, and hopefully that can give him a bit of confidence, because I think if he is fit and raring and, you know, he's at it, he could be a good player for us this season.
What's he like on the training pitch, Tommy? Because he seems quite still young, a raw talent, but he has those moments, doesn't he? I think it was in the 50th minute where he rolled past the defender and fizzed a shot just wide.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that raw pace and power, which is so desired these days. We forget he is a young man. You know, he's a very confident boy. He's looked up to in the little group of youngsters that we have coming through as a little bit of a leader now as well. I think going away did him the world of good last year. I think he come back and matured. And it's time for Josh to step up now. You know, you wait for these chances. And I think he is definitely one that grabbed that with both hands today. As Foxy said, he was a great outlet for the defenders when we were under pressure at times, getting out to Josh and making sure he was making it stick and winning fouls or getting us up the pitch. So again, that was a real big highlight and lots of promise for Josh going forward now.
There was a few nice connections as well, especially in that second period. He rolled Pritch in once. Him and Pritch actually seem to be working quite nicely together.
Yeah, again, Pritch, it's a big season for Pritch. Highly frustrated last year, couldn't seem to get himself fit or in the right space physically to be able to give us what he wanted to give us. But he's someone who's come through pre-season really well. He looks very lean. I thought he looked very sharp today. Again, taking on a new role. A big season for Pritch. You know, he needs to deliver for himself and for us this year, and he seems to have the bit between his teeth, and long may that continue. He was one that I thought at times was getting into good areas, but was sometimes making the wrong decision because it was taking so much energy for him to do what we needed him to do off the ball. So as soon as lads get used to what's required off the ball, I think you'll start seeing better decisions with the ball, especially up and around the final third.
And Foxy, one person I wanted to highlight as well was Ben Jackson. It was his first Sky Bet Championship start for Huddersfield Town. He's someone you'll have spoke to quite a lot from his loan at Stockport. He was a left back last season. He's moved into the middle of midfield. How well do you think he's done, firstly, to adapt to playing as a centre midfielder and then to push on to make his Sky Bet Championship debut for the club?
Yeah, I'm delighted for him, really. Obviously, like you said, I got quite close to Ben now over the few months he had at Stockport, and I think lockdown was really good for him. I think he went away and he really battered the running that they were made to do, and he was flying during the lockdown. So he's come back and really hit the ground running. So I'm delighted for him. Like you said, I've seen him as a left back. I've seen him as a left winger. I've never seen him play in midfield, to be fair, but he's done really well. I was really impressed with him in the pre-season games, and I think the manager likes what he brings in the middle of the park. He's got good quality off both feet, but he works hard. He gets around the park well. He's got a good change of pace, and I think, yeah, I'm just delighted for him, really. But like similar to Josh, it's a big year for him now. The opportunity's there for these players. It's up to them to take it, and he's had a good start. He's got his debut, but now he's really got to kick on because he can stay in the team if he plays well. So there's a real opportunity for players at the minute. So it's up to him. He's got to kick on again. He's got to improve. He's got to do better in training and do better in games. But it's a great opportunity for him. And yeah, like I say, I'm delighted for him that he's sort of another one that went away on loan, grew as a man, dealt with a lot of ups and downs over that period and come back and he's got himself a start, which is great.
You can see that the loan move, like with Josh, really paid off for him. He's come back, like you say, after a year and a half really of men's football. He looks equipped now, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's loads that go into it, really. It's not just the playing the games, it's everything else. It's getting dropped, it's playing for 3 points on a Saturday, it's how you deal with adversity, it's how you deal with success. There's lots of things that you might not get in under 19s football, under 23s football so much. So these loans for these sort of lads are really important. So yeah, it worked out well for the pair of them. And the part of the manager's thinking now, and it's up to them to make sure they stay there.
he obviously played against Rochdale as well. But Tommy, I've been told in the past that as a young player, making your debut is almost the easiest part. Then to consistently get into the team, that's the real challenge.
Yeah, I was very happy to get that out of the way when I was coming through. It was always the aim, and there's a big onus on making your debut. And I think once you've made your debut, you have to quickly put that to bed. For Ben now, he won't be seen as a youngster. We can't make allowances for these youngsters coming through. This is about winning now. We need to go and get points and put points on the board fast. So you judge game to game now. Although this is a process and something that's going to take time, that is what's on the line. We can't lose sight of that. So although there's positives and Ben's made his debut, Josh has broke through today, we have to build on that. It's not enough. We need to go again. We need to improve and look forward to a big game next Saturday now. And
just finally, looking at specific players, it was Pippa's debut as well. He's only been on the grass for 3 days with the rest of the lads, but he fitted in straight away, didn't he? He put in a very, very good performance, considering this is his first time in England playing. Yeah, I actually thought he really grew into the game as well. I think he's sort of alluded to it's very different sort of style in England that he's going to have to get used to. But for a debut, again, absolute rock solid platform to build on. And that's just, I think that's the thing for all of us tonight. It's a platform, it's something to build on. Let's not lose sight about this. This is about winning. We can't every week say, yeah, the system's working and etc. We need to win games and get into that habit again. And the system and what we've seen today has given us a good platform to take confidence from against a team that's just been relegated from the Premier League and kept a lot of their players together. It's given us that good platform to build on and improve. Yeah, I think platform is an excellent way of putting it. And going into next week, Brentford, they obviously lost earlier today against Birmingham City, but it's another difficult game, isn't it, Foxy, when you're trying to learn this style of play to come straight after Norwich, because they had a good year last year, Brentford. Yeah, they did. Obviously, playoff finalists. Hopefully, they've still got a little bit of a hangover from that going into next week. But yeah, it's the games are coming thick and fast. I think they will do this year. Shortened season and all that, and less preparation. The games will come thick and fast. And like Tommy mentioned, the results are the be all and end all. So hopefully, everything that we're seeing and the sort of the building blocks that are getting put in place are there for results, and that's what everyone's going to get judged on, and ultimately that's what will decide what happens. So yeah, it's another tough game, but there's certainly things we'll take from the game today and go into that Brentford game. But yeah, no, I think every game's tough in the Championship. Everyone knows that. So another one on Saturday. And there's another week, obviously, to adapt to that style, to work on new things, and to take a lot of learning from this defeat as well. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you've got to learn from these sort of things. I think that's one thing the manager's keen on, the analysis part of the game. They'll look at everything, and like we mentioned before, I think the stuff with the ball, the stuff in the final third, that'll be something that he'll be working on, I'm sure, during the week to try and improve that area of the game and to try and be more of a threat next week. And Tommy, just finally with you. You put it nicely, yes, the style it is a process, but ultimately winning is the thing that counts. After what was a very difficult start for us last season, for the group of players, because a lot of them are still the same, that's got to be the driving force, hasn't it? In the back of their minds, the Hoggies, the Schindlers. Yeah, it will be. We created a bond and a spirit last season through what we went through. It was a real tough year, and one that we was glad to get to the end of and sort of stay up the way we did, beating West Brom. And you've had the summer, although it wasn't long to reflect. But this feels like a new beginning. It feels like a new era. It feels like we're going in a totally new direction. One direction that's
a direction that's getting totally and utterly backed in the dressing room that the lads are excited by. They're buzzing off the training. Personally, I've always lived by that performance will always outweigh results. If the performance are there, the results will follow. And if we can back that performance up, like I said, improve on it, because we do need to improve on it if we are going to win games at this level. That's for sure. I don't think Norwich were at their best free flowing yet. I thought you could see that Norwich were sort of in a situation where a lot of lads didn't really know whether they were coming or going. There was a lot of new lads. It was a bit fragmented for me watching Norwich today. So I think next week's going to be a step up on that. And we need to improve and build on the performance, and the results will follow, I'm sure.
Tommy, Foxy, thank you very much for spending the time to discuss the defeat, and fingers crossed next weekend against Brentford we'll get the right result. Thank you.